the kitchen window.
Right.
And this is the source of the grey water. There's a pipe underneath there,
Right.
where the washing machine is coming out.
Right.
There's a pipe here where the zinc is coming out.
Right.
And another pipe here where the dishwashing machine is coming out.
Right.
The dishwashing machine, I noticed that the active ingredient in it is salt, but that's not a problem if we use beetroot and an old man saltbush.
Right.
Old man saltbush produces a pulse, and the species composition of this garden is going to include a lot of pulses, and one of them will be old man saltbush.
Right.
The Dutch cleaned their reclaimed marine lands by using beetroot to extract the salt.
Okay.
So they had an excess of salt, and they found a way of selling it by growing beetroot in it.
Right.
So wherever there's an excess of something, there's some sort of a crop that can turn it into a product.
And how are you intending to sculpt the ground to make use of this water?
Okay, so an important trick that I'm using here, it's a permaculture design principle, and it's called edge effect.
Right.
Now, if we just take note of that grass growing up the wall over there.
Yes, yes.
That's a good example. On the one side of the edge between the grass and the building, well, is the wall of the building, and on the other side is the grass and the soil. And wherever there's an edge between two different media, we get enormous growth vigor.
Right.
Another example that most people will be very familiar with is a pond.
Right.
Around the edge of the pond there's very vigorous growth,
Right.
and inside the middle of the pond there's very little. And away from the pond the grass isn't growing so high, whereas around the pond it's bushy, there are trees, there's grasses, there's all sorts of things going on there. Birds are active, all sorts of little animals are running around in there, and there's a vigorous ecosystem. So when we lay out a permaculture garden, one of the things we aim to do is to get it as curvy linear as possible, which is why I'm making these spiral swales.
Could you just walk along one of the spiral swells and kind of point it out as you go?
Okay, well, here's the water course coming down from the dishwashing machine. It's joined here by the other two water courses, and it goes into a helical spiral around here.
Right.
And then it goes, this still has to be excavated, but it will go around here.
Right.
Into this woody area, where we will make some more spiral swales.
Okay.
Now, down here we see a whole lot of woody garden rubbish that's been loosely placed where it's going to be. The aim is to transform this into a raised bed hugelculture. The concept of hugelculture is fairly well known with organic gardeners at this stage, but just for those who don't know about it, it's an old Scandinavian German technique of prolonging the growing season by burying wood in the ground.
Right.
In our climate, it also prolongs the growing season primarily by retaining a huge amount of water.
Right.
And so where we have a huge amount of woody material in the ground, when that reacts electrostatically with the clay, the amount of water that the ground can absorb and retain is significantly multiplied. And we made a spiral hugelculture on another site, and in it we got maize, mealies in 6 weeks from germination, It normally takes about 4 months, so we reduce the growing period down to a third of its normal time. The world's looking at Africa because of the photosynthetic potential of the bright African sun. And this would apply just about anywhere in the subtropics. Now, we've discovered how to tap into that potential, and it's all about creating ecosystems that feed the soil with a huge amount of woody material.
Right.
So here we're giving it a kickstart by putting what is available here into the garden. And so in this area we'll be able to grow vegetables as soon as we've got all the beds shaped up. That's what I discovered about a thing that I call the food niche. In the food niche, one of the things that happened in the food niche, where a huge amount of woody material had mixed into the ground, is that blackjacks, for example, instead of being full of black seeds that stick in your trousers and socks, they became armfuls of lush green spinach, literally, and definitely a better quality than any spinach I've ever tasted. So where natural succession gets to that climax level, a temperate rainforest floor level, everything starts to become human friendly. Either species that are more human, which produce food, start out dominating things like grass, or so species composition can change in a favorable direction. But what also happens is a lot of things that we consider to be not human friendly and ugly and a nuisance completely change their growth habits. And I've noticed that where some very, very vicious thorn trees get plenty of water, they stop making thorns.
Amazing.
And a lot of those thorn trees, the seed is edible. We can use it as a pulse. So the aim here is to accelerate succession and get it to the temperate rainforest forest floor level, so that whatever grows in here is useful or edible, or at least attractive and friendly to people.
Thank you.
Okay, that's our first clip.